welcome back to the Chip and Charge Tennis Podcast. I'm Nicholas Morell, joining me is Carl Babbage, and on today's weekly tour review,
we will be covering the events in Dallas, Rotterdam, Transylvania and Abu Dhabi.
We also look ahead to the WTA 1000 event in Doha and the 250s in Buenos Aires, Delray Beach and Marseille. Well, Carl, today is the 12th of February and we are here to catch up on the week in tennis. Finally, you are back after a few episodes where you haven't been present. We had Phil on last week, but how are you doing?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. Just, busy times, this year and, a lot of tennis stuff going on. But yeah, excited to be back and yeah, let's crack on.
Yeah, I believe you had a tournament in Liverpool, an ITF.
Yeah, we
How
had
did that go?
yeah, had quite a couple, going out with the with the squad and the team and stuff. Tough tournament, obviously, extremely tough in England every time. And I actually was and kind of still am injured, so I couldn't get through the full of the matches, but I got a bit of an ankle injury. But we're healing and we're actually going to Ireland next week
Oh,
for
nice.
Dublin. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
What J is that?
Yeah, still J30, I think maybe J60 after, but yeah.
It's a very good competition there. ITF Juniors. If anyone doesn't know, ITF J30 is the lowest one, but it's still a very, very high level. Lots of good junior players. We've got a lot of tennis to catch up on from the week in tennis. As I'm recording, I'm watching Schwartzman in possibly his final ever match playing Jarry, although he's a set up and break points up. But I think we should start in Rotterdam, Carl. The ATP 500 event won by Carlos Alcaraz. He beat de Minaur in the final, 6-4, 3-6, 6-2. Crucially, Carl, for his first indoor title. I'm actually looking at a stat, and the last quarterfinal that he played indoors was in the 2022 Basel event. So he hadn't even been in the quarterfinal since 2022. He had made the 2023 Turin, the ATP finals. He got to the semis there, but yeah, outside of that, he's done pretty much nothing on indoor hard courts, and this is another big milestone, I think, in Alcaraz's career, getting it done on an indoor hard court.
Yeah, he's obviously an incredibly good player on literally every surface, but he's definitely thrived more on, winning the slams last year on obviously clay and grass. So you'd expect someone like Sinner, or, someone maybe Zverev or someone like that to just be a little bit higher level. But he's definitely pulled his way through. And yeah, you can say it might just be an ATP 500, but not as high as a slam level, but it's still a good win. Alex de Minaur, very top player, top 10. So, and obviously third seed. So it's a good level from both players being able to get to the final, and Alcaraz quite a good match, honestly, in that third set. It does kind of still make you think about how the level differences with Alcaraz and Sinner, because you see Sinner play Alex de Minaur how many times? 4 or 5, and every single time the score's been straight sets, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's a very good matchup for Sinner.
Oh yeah.
And Alcaraz, he still gets it done against de Minaur. De Minaur played 2 finals now at Rotterdam, back to back, loses to Alcaraz and Sinner. But yeah, definitely Sinner is very strong against de Minaur. It's a very good matchup for him. And yeah, Alcaraz, he looked a bit unwell. He had that nasal strip on court on his matches, but he still played some very high level tennis. I think especially he got through his first round match against Botic van der Zandschulp, a match that he lost obviously in the US Open. I think that was a big test to come through. We spoke about it with Phil a bit. How we thought they would do well after that because obviously get his confidence up. And that seemed to work out because then obviously he had Andrea Vavasori, the double specialist, ranked outside the world's top 300, and he stormed through him. Then got through Pedro Martinez. That probably should have been Holger Rune, but he was struggling with illness as well. Something going on, I think, because Ruud also having a nasal strip on him during his final run, which we'll come on to talk about. And then obviously having a very high level win against Hubert Hurkacz in a very, very good match, a very high level there. Probably the best level of 2025 so far, I think.
Yeah.
And then that final against de Minaur, he came back from obviously losing that second set in good fashion, and yeah, a hugely impressive tournament for Alcaraz and a hugely impressive run, especially destroying Vavasori and Pedro Martinez in good fashion. And yeah, obviously, as I say, winning his first indoor hardcourt title, but I also think it's good for him to get it done, after the Australian Open, where he didn't do, obviously lost to Djokovic, which was probably disappointing for him, and he's got back on track. And now, obviously, he usually plays on the South American swing with the clay courts there, but yeah, he's decided to go to Rotterdam this year, and it seems to be paying off, Carl.
Yeah, I want to talk about two things here, Nick. First is actually about the nasal spray thing, because the two matches that I've watched and I've seen this tournament, I definitely saw Alcaraz use it, and I was just wondering, like, I haven't really noticed or seen those things before being in use. I just wondered if you know anything about how it actually might help, or why so many players are using it now. Because I've seen Alcaraz use it, I've seen Rune use it, I've seen Ruud use it. So yeah, it's just wondering, like, if maybe we should get one for our tennis as well.
I think it's meant to like open up the airways or something to the nose, but
Yeah.
From people that I've spoken to that have used it, they say that they can't really detect a difference.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a blocked nose, so I think it might help with that.
Yeah, yeah, Ruud as well using it, so a good week for the nasal strip wearers.
Exactly. But yeah, the second thing I also want to talk about was the Hurkacz Alcaraz match. Like you said very high level tennis, top in 2025. That was actually a match that I did watch with my family. That was a proper match that I did went the whole time through there. And I saw the good level, and it just seemed to me like, honestly, even though the match was obviously in Alcaraz's favor, I actually saw how Hurkacz was hitting, and it seemed like so many of his balls were just gold. Like, especially in those tight moments in that second set, yeah, he won it extremely close, but the way he won it, it looked like he was really dominating, especially those early points. His forehand was an absolute joke. His coming in and his finishing, his backhands and moving them to the court was just crazy skill. His volleys as well, just his overall tennis level was just so high, way higher than anything I've ever seen Hurkacz play. Definitely by far the best tennis I've watched.
Mm.
I don't really go into a match looking like, oh, let's see how Hurkacz is playing. It's just like one of those guys where it's like, he's a top player, he can play quite well, he's like there and abouts, but you haven't seen him play this good. And it's kind of like annoying to say that he still lost the match, because it seems like Alcaraz and those type of guys just literally have like a next gear, like a higher gear that they just clock into, and in that third set or something, after Hurkacz taking that second set so close, Alcaraz just stepped it up so much and kind of wiped the floor with him. Hurkacz was still playing a good level, but inevitably in Alcaraz's favor. Now I just thought that that's the way that Alcaraz just needs to keep playing, and he did well in the finals also to push through that match, and we'll see how he does in the next tournaments and see if he can keep that level going against players like Sinner and Zverev.
Yeah, like you say, the fact that Hurkacz was playing that well and Alcaraz still came through it is a testament to how well Alcaraz was playing in this tournament. I also think, Hubert Hurkacz losing to Alcaraz, but ultimately he still played, a very good match, like you say, and he was 4-1 up in that first set, against Alcaraz, and I think 40-love up or something on serve to go 5-1 up, and Alcaraz still came back to win that set 6-4. As you said, the shot qualities from both players, I think, were ridiculously high. I think they're both. It was such good tennis. It genuinely was. If you haven't watched that match, then if you haven't got time to watch it, then I genuinely recommend going to watch the highlights, because it is genuinely some of the best hitting. Just from the back of the court, and they both came into the net well as well. Before we move on from Rotterdam, Carl, we should probably have a mention about Matteo Bellucci. He came through qualifying, beat Daniil Medvedev and Stefanos Tsitsipas back to back to reach the semi-finals, where he then, of course, lost to de Minaur in a slightly convincing fashion. But he is a fun and exciting player. He's an upcoming player. There's points in his run to the semi-finals here that were just extraordinary. I won against de Minaur actually in the very beginning of that match of the first game. I think it's one of the first few points actually. It was he had an easy sort of bunt down the line for a winner, and instead of just putting it away, he jumped up and hit a tweener through the legs down the line, and he's bringing some excellent atmosphere, some excellent tennis, and a really fun, exciting lefty. And of course, I think it's big for him to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-4, 6-2, who I know is not in great form at the moment, but he's still a good player, and there's still the mental of trying to beat him after backing it up after beating Medvedev in a very tight match. And I think that shows he's probably a player to look out for in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Bellucci is, and just with a lot of these upcoming guys, we had a glimpse of what Fonseca can do in the Australian Open. I know there's been many tournaments after that, but I still think that he was one to remember, the Brazilian. If you guys don't know him, he was
Well, yeah,
the.
he's playing in Buenos Aires this week. He beat Thomas Martin Echeverry.
Oh, okay, well there you go. We'll be covering that,
Yeah,
soon enough. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like all these young guys, Bellucci, the qualifiers who are coming through that you don't really seem like much. He's still quite young. He's only 23. He's he's especially, another thing that we notice about him is I think he's literally like about our height, Nick.
yeah,
He's quite small. He's quite a small guy for a tennis player, especially. You're going against people like Sinner Zverev who are like 6'4", 6'5", and you've got a guy who's, what I'm saying here, it's 5'9". So it does definitely show that it doesn't really matter. Some obviously, yeah, we all know height can play a huge advantage in tennis, but it's still the dedication and work ethic you put in which inevitably gets you there. So yeah, I think that he's a good inspiration for a lot of guys who are like, oh, I can't grow. What is this? We might feel ourselves that we're not at that limit where we think we can get to like 6 foot or something like that, or even higher, which is what the dream is, obviously. But yeah, we work with what we've got, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, Belushi is definitely someone to look forward to and look forward to watching and seeing what he can do in the future. But yeah, good
yeah.
player.
Yeah, he's 23 years of age, so a bit older than Fonseca and Petri Pericard and guys like that coming through. But yeah, I think, a very good week for him. Someone that's probably not been on our radar, but definitely there now. And yeah, we'll be following his events. We should probably have a mention as well for Daniel Medvedev. Significant loss of form for him. He is in Marseille this week, but I mean, he's lost to two qualifiers in his last two tournaments in the second round, both of them at the Australian Open. And of course, now Rotterdam, he beat Wawrinka in 3 sets in his first match. Wawrinka, of course, nowhere near the player he is now. And yeah, with Medvedev, it seems to be a significant loss in his tennis, his ability to play, outperform players. I mean, I haven't seen him hit I was watching this match against Matteo Bellucci, and I did not see him hit a winner. I know he probably did hit winners, but they're very rare to come by now for him. And I know he's spoken about the balls, fluffing up a lot, and it's so hard to hit through the players, hit through the players and get winners. And it's something that lots of players have spoken about on the tour. And perhaps something the tours need to address to get just a blanket ball that goes through the whole tour, or to get a ball that goes from the grass season to the hard season, to then obviously the clay court season, get a different ball for each of those. But it's something that the tours need to try and resolve, because it's definitely going on a lot, and it's not hard to do. I know there's sponsorships that they have to sort out, but back on the Medvedev point, it's tough to see him getting back there. There was actually questions in his post-match press conferences of him retiring. I don't think we're quite at that stage yet, but yeah, significant loss of form, and hopefully he can pick it up again. But yeah, it's not looking great at the moment for Medvedev, Carl.
No, definitely not. But yeah, just looking here, he's making a load more unforced errors than he was used to kind of playing, which is a definite significant point seeing him play. Obviously, he hit 32, which is nearly double the amount of Bellucci, and Medvedev, you would say, is
Yeah,
a
that's
very
that's Medvedev's
consistent
game.
player.
That's what he.
Exactly.
How many winners did he hit?
He did hit more winners than Bellucci, but it was 24.
Mm.
So 24 to 16. So it was about eight more, yeah, than Bellucci, which isn't still too many. It's kind of still in and
Especially with
about, but
especially
for a
with
three
the
set match,
especially with the big serve that he's got. You'd be
exactly.
expecting more, because obviously then he can set the point up as well. Bellucci's got a tiny, I'm not a tiny serve, but compared to like the big service, it's not a big serve at all. It is
Mm.
lefty, but yeah,
Yeah, don't you think it's like, does he still like? Do you think he still stands too far back when he's playing and can't get the opportunity to get
yeah,
into
I
the
don't know.
court and
That, that's
pressurize them with time?
that's that's tough, because I think before he would never come up and come up to the baseline, but recently I think he's come up more. He's tried it more, but I think he still
Could that be
stands
making
too far
errors?
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that could be why he's making too many. I mean,
but it's
sometimes
good
he
to
just
try.
sometimes he doesn't even come up to the net. I mean, the 2023 US Open final against Djokovic served and volleyed like more than 50% of the times, and didn't change his court position. I mean, it was just the commentators at the time were saying, everyone basically watching it was saying that he needs to change his position, and he wouldn't do it. It was just, it was just one of the weirdest tactical moments because Djokovic was just dominating with the serve and volley. He hit hardly any ground strokes. I mean, it's one of the funniest matches if you watch that because just.
Because if you're so far back, the ball has to come slower to you. Like it physically has to. It takes longer to get over to the net, especially trying to get it deep or something like that. You're going to be able to read it quicker. You know how fast these guys at professional level can read a ball, and they see where it's going to hit, where it's going to go, the slice, everything. They see everything on it, and so if Medvedev is standing at the back of the court and like running and hitting like low balls and doing his weird technique or whatever, and obviously getting it back, ripping it up, it's not going to be as fast, and it's just going to give the opponent so much time to like come in. Obviously, we can't really critique Medvedev's game, can we? But I just think that compared to exactly, you just can't do that. But yeah, just saying, just compared to the other guys we've seen, like look how Sinner's on the court, on the baseline, going into the baseline, Djokovic on the baseline, Alcaraz on the baseline. These guys come into the net, win so many more points. I'm trying to find here how many, points at the net they won because at the net Bellucci won because obviously you wouldn't really see Medvedev come into the net as much, would you? So yeah, it's just Medvedev. I just feel like he really does need to try and change something if it's him coming in more or doing this because let's be real, he's what seed was he even in this tournament? He was a top he was
second seed,
two
I think.
seed. There you go. Yeah, he's at second seed, bottom of the tournament. So yeah, it's like he should physically be getting finals, and for losing like that early,
Losing
it's
2 qualifiers in a row cost Lerner Tien at the
yeah.
Australian Open.
Exactly. It's like where does he need to find that extra step to try and not even get back to where he was, just slowly build his way because obviously you can't go from losing in a round of 16 like of a ATP of a ATP 500 in Rotterdam and then just go instantly back to like getting semis and finals of slams. That's not how it works.
I
But
think that's
it's
I think that's why he's gone to Marseille, the 250. He hasn't played a 250 in ages, and he's gone there
yeah,
now probably just to get a win, to get a title. And he hasn't won a title
confidence.
since 2023. Like it's been a while, and he really needs to get confidence, like you say, get confidence and match form back in, and then try and take it to the top guys. But I mean, he's playing Pierre Hugues Herbert in Marseille, French favourite. We'll have to see how that goes, but. Yeah.
But these things could also go the opposite way. And imagine if he loses in the ATP 250, then just seeing his level, it can make it so much worse. But I think we'll see what happens. I do have courage, and we'll hopefully give him the courage that he needs and keep supporting him, and hopefully he can get back to a level because he can definitely put so many guys under pressure. And he's unorthodox, so you never know what could be coming with him. So if he gets back to that level where he's consistent and he can be aggressive, then he's such a dangerous player. This is why we love Medvedev. But yeah,
I think he
we'll
needs
see.
to, like you said, I think he needs to change something. I think players like figuring out that when he's standing so far back, they're
Yeah,
figuring out what to do. But we'll move on
yeah,
to Dallas. But before we do, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please hit the subscribe and like button. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, please leave us a review. It really does help us get this podcast out to more people, and really help support us. We'll move on to Dallas now. It was won by Denis Shapovalov, beating Casper Ruud in the final 7-6, 6-3. In a week that I think probably most tennis fans thought Denis Shapovalov would never have again in his career. He's kind of fallen off the radar recently. Last year especially, he's had poor results last year. Of course, I know he won Belgrade at the end of that, but he was playing some extraordinary tennis that I probably thought I'd never see Shapovalov play. He was really taking risks, but then at the big moments, he was also, taking that, reining it in a bit and being consistent. He beat 3 top 10 players en route to this title. He beat Casper Ruud, Tommy Paul, and Taylor Fritz. He beat the number 1, number 2, and number 3 seeds, and the number 6 seed Tomas Mahac as well. Kekmanovic in there as well. It is such an impressive run. We say it's a 250, we say it's a 500, and we know that the event in Rotterdam was probably better appeared by the top players, but Dallas, he came through probably the toughest draw that there could have been in this tournament. And I mean, winning his 3rd title. And a big win for him, I think, for Shapovalov. Getting back to where he wants to be, and I think this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and that just shows levels, that just shows the work ethic that he's put in. He's obviously worked extremely hard for coming out of, that dip that so many players go through, and it's inevitable that everyone's going to go through that way. You're just not on it. And it's so good to see some guys that it just proves that you can. It's not hopeless, Just because you've gone down doesn't mean you can't rise back up, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, Shapovalov is living proof just right there that he obviously you just said didn't have the best season last year and was kind of going off the radar with his results, but now obviously coming through and winning ATP 500, that's such a good level, and he's gonna obviously get his confidence back and all this stuff. It might not be as low as a 250, which is even better for him, knowing that he can still play at such a high level. Beating Ruud as well is top class from him, honestly. So yeah, I think it's just kind of the small things, having a 7-6, 6-3, it's still a very close match. It didn't go to 3, but 7-6, anything can happen, and 6-3 is just one break, and it was just one break because Shapovalov had 5 chances to break, and he took one of them, only 20%, but that 20% is what won him the match. And yeah, Ruud only had one chance to break. He didn't obviously convert. So yeah, Shapovalov doing really well on his service games. He had 13 aces, so this is another big thing that he's obviously got now. His serve's looking a lot bigger, and yeah, he's always got that one hand that we all know, and he's one of those guys that are literally at the top of the one hand game now. He's getting back into it. We haven't really seen a one hander get into the top 10 like we heard. It was the first time in ever of tennis that there wasn't a one hander in the game, right? So
We've
so
got
yeah,
the
then now
we've got the junior Henri Bernet. I don't know if you've seen him from Switzerland.
oh yeah,
Sponsored
yeah,
by
yeah, I've
the
heard of it.
Federer clothing brand On. I think heavily backed by the Swiss Tennis Federation to be the next
Mm,
Federer with a nice
okay.
one-hander. He reminds me of Dan Evans actually. But
Mm.
yeah, perhaps he's the next top 10 one-hander. But
Perhaps, or maybe Shapovalov could get back up there,
yeah,
but yeah, we
his,
love
his career high
one-handers,
his
so
career high was 10 Shapovalov.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I
that's
think
good.
especially with his game, Shapovalov. He used to hit a lot of winners, a lot of flashy tennis, which has got him to have a big reputation in the sport, and he's known very widely. Even though
Yeah,
probably his results aren't, a player like he's probably known better than I don't know, a player maybe like
like Kachanov
Nishikori or
Hurkacz
Kashin.
or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
players like that.
Even
That
those guys, yeah, even though they got high
yeah,
rankings, he's just that type of player who's like so flashy and
it's
like
known
on the
better.
court,
Yeah,
and yeah,
and I
he is
think
definitely known better.
and I think why he's done so well in Dallas is because he's reined that in a bit, but he's also kept that, and he's got less unforced errors throughout his run. Before he would just hit like nearly. I was watching nearly. And this is an exaggeration, but nearly every other point he was double faulting, and I mean he was so unforced and making so many unforced errors, cheap
Mm.
errors to his opponents. And I think in Dallas, when I was watching matches that I've watched, he was just redlining the ball with such high quality. And I think the question mark there is whether he can replicate this performance week in, week out. Whether he's obviously he was playing as probably his top level here, probably his top 10 tennis. I think definitely top
Yeah.
10 tennis. And I think
Hmm.
the question mark is whether he can bring this week in, week out and get back up to top 10. Because if he plays like this, then yeah, he can. Yeah, can't.
Yeah, and just saying, like, obviously, yeah, you said he played Fritz, you said he played Rudy, he played these top guys, but if he eventually has to play someone like maybe Zverev or Sinner and Alcaraz, can he keep that unforced error count down? Because in this match, yes, he beat Ruud. It was close, but his unforced errors was still quite a bit higher than Ruud in this match. He had 33 unforced errors, Ruud only had 25. So that's, yes, still something that he could work on. Definitely.
I think it
What are
is
you
kind
thinking?
kind of his game though. I think hitting out
Yeah,
more
true.
with Wood
True. Yeah, yeah,
much
yeah.
more consistent, like on the dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like you say, definitely if you can get those, yeah, like you say, playing Wood, it's easier to make less unforced errors than if you're being constantly pressurized against, like you say, like a Sinner or an Alcaraz or
Yeah, no
Zverev even.
time. Hmm.
Yeah,
No time to think, no time to hit. But yeah, still a good amount of winners as well. He had more winners by 2, so 30 winners. But yeah, reining it down a bit, reining both levels down a bit, but
Mhm.
still trying to keep that high level so it's kind of evens it out, which is which is really good to see. And yeah, that it's obviously working. So if you can keep that going and keep stepping it up, then so much bigger things to come from Shapovalov.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's worth noting is this is his biggest tour title. His 500 event. He's won 2 other titles, as I said, 250s, and they're all on indoor hard courts. In 2024, obviously, he won the Belgrade 250, and 2019 he won his first title in Stockholm. And it's worth saying that they're both indoor hard courts, and now, of course, beating Dallas. I know it's not an indoor hard court, but was it indoors? I think it's pretty sure it's outdoors. No, it's indoors, isn't it? Dallas, yeah, it's indoors. And I think there's something worth saying, about it being indoors, being perfect conditions. There's no wind to deal with. There's no unpredictable conditions. The court is bouncing pretty much the same every time on indoor hard courts. They're laid every single week because they're used for different things throughout the year. So I think perhaps he needs to go out there on a windy, wet clay court in Buenos Aires or whatever.
Like Egypt or something,
Yeah,
just go out
yeah,
there and
like
just
an ITF 15K,
dodgy
and
clay courts
yeah,
with holes in the floor and stuff like that.
and just grind it out because he's
Yeah,
done very well on these indoor hard courts, but the conditions are just he knows what's coming. So I think there's
perfect.
something worth noting there. Unless you've got anything else to mention, I would honorary mention to Jaume Muna. He got to the semis. He played Casper Ruud. Probably should feel like he should have won that one. He was serving for a 5-4, which actually you have to give credit for Casper Ruud for coming through that, a tough test against Jaume Muna. 2 very similar players. I was watching this match and they pretty much identical, the two styles. But yeah, a good week for Jaume Muna and Casper Ruud as well. Carl.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think Muna was on it that match. It's close, but obviously that's what we're saying. 7-6, 6 all. When it gets to that point, anything can happen. They were both so similar here. Both around 70% first serve, both 70% on the first serve points won. So really dictating on that first serve, which is really good for them. Both had 50% of first serves of break points saved. So the conversion rates were the exact same, 50% on both sides, which is why it made it such a tight match and obviously going to 7-6. So yeah, I think it was definitely such a tight level from these two players, and you wouldn't expect it from Runar because yes, Ruud was the better seed here and statistically the better player. So you wouldn't really expect Munar to have such a close match. But yeah, it was extremely close. Around the same winners, 24-26 in Ruud's favor. Unforced errors, 22-22. That's very good for a 3-set match. That's quite a low number for a 3-setter. So yeah, both players playing at a high level, and yeah, in this match, anything could have happened. And just on the day, maybe the experience of what Ruud has just overcompensated in his favor, and he got it. So yeah, great job from Ruud there.
Yeah, we should probably move on to Abu Dhabi, the WTA 500. As I'm watching now, Nicholas Jarry just levelled this match against Schwartzman in possibly his final ever tour match. 6-4, he took the second set. But yeah, we'll move on to Abu Dhabi, which was won impressively, Carl, by Belinda Bencic. She beat Ashlyn Krueger in the final, 4-6, 6-1, 6-4 in a remarkable comeback. And a good week as well throughout that whole tournament. Of course, notable because obviously she stepped away from the tennis court in September 2023 through to November of last year to give birth to her daughter, Bella, who arrives in April last year. So she came back in November. She played on some ITF matches, so some lower levels from the tour. She got some wins, and she has come onto the scene so quickly after that. And we've seen it with many players, like Simona Halep obviously announced her retirement last week. She could not come back after that doping ban. She only played 6 matches. She won 1, none tour level. And with her win in Abu Dhabi, Belinda Bencic has become the first mother to claim a WTA singles title since Alina Svitolina in Strasbourg of May in 2023, and she's joined an elite list of just a few players, I believe 5 other players. Margaret Court, who did it against Ivan Goolagong in the 6-4, 7-5 in the final of the 1973 Australian Open. Yvonne Goolagong as well, she did it over Chris Evert at Wimbledon. Kim Clijsters, she did it at the US Open in 2009, beating Caroline Wozniacki. Serena Williams as well, beaten. She won a title in 2020 in the Auckland. Anna Svitolina as well. So she's joined Margaret Court, Yvonne Goolagong, Kim Clijsters, Serena Williams, and Alina Svitolina. I mean,
Yeah,
a remarkable match, and remarkable for her to come back as well after, a tough,
losing that first set.
yeah, losing that first set, and also after having a baby. I mean, it's incredible
Yeah, that
stuff.
is. Yeah, just to navigate everything going on with your life, that's such a tough moment that's so that a lot of these players will have to go through, and some struggle to get through it and have to stop for even longer, and to come back to tennis is just it's so good to see these women, you know, find a way back into the sport and fight as hard as they can for literally what they love. They love it so much that they've had a child, they've started a family, and they still want to come back to playing tennis. They could just leave it and say it's over and just live like your normal life, but they don't want that. They want to do what they love, which is so important. And yeah, this is what tennis does. It happens in a lot of sports, and it's quite rare to happen in tennis. Yeah, but it just makes it that much sweeter when a player like Bencic, and we've seen it with Serena, um, how good they can get. And obviously I don't know too much about the other players, maybe Svitolina, yes, but these the other all the ladies, how they can get back to winning titles at like such high level. Um, yeah, it makes it so good, and for her to win the
Mm.
tournament and yeah, it's such a great match from Bencic, and a fight. You can see she's a fighter. You can see her after losing that first set, tight set. She just destroyed Krueger. She really just took it to the next level and definitely dominated. That first set, it was kind of even. It was definitely, making a lot of double faults and in the match, I think, but definitely on the flip side, there was a lot of winners, and she was being aggressive. And after that first set, the whole match kind of changed. So obviously in Bencic's favor.
Mm.
And yeah, it did make a big difference with the amount of service points won, about 80% in that second set, and again 80% in that third set, and only about 65% in that first set, obviously where Kruger won it. But yeah, definitely just props to all benches here, and yeah, it's a huge accomplishment, not just because of the win, but what she had to go through to get there, and yeah, make her way through back into tennis and at the highest level.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. She also got a double bagel en route to the title, beating Veronika Kudermetova 6-love, 6-love. The other Kudermetova, Polina Kudermetova, also got double bageled in Doha this week. So yeah, they're both probably sisters, and probably one of them felt bad for the other, so they got double bageled themselves. No, probably not, but
Can't say that. That's
no.
good.
No, I mean, it's interesting to see how far she can go, Belinda Bencic.
Mhm.
Obviously she won Tokyo Olympics 2020. She got to the semis in the US Open. She's 27 years old, so not actually that old, for having a baby and coming back onto the tour. We saw like Serena Williams, that's much older. Um, I mean, Ons Jabeur as well. She wants to go. She wants to win Wimbledon and then have a baby, which obviously she's come so close, and that's just heartbreaking for her. But yeah, it's just gonna be interesting to see how far she can go, whether she can get back into the top 10. I think that's probably likely. She's playing such good tennis. She's such a good player, and perhaps to get deep in slams. I mean, how far do you think she can go, Kyle? I mean, obviously we know what level she can play, but I think she could go.
Mhm.
She could go deep. Maybe could she win a slam, Maddison Keys style esque?
I don't know. It's tough to say because with her, she's got a lot riding on her, and I don't know, she's quite an emotional player, or she wants it so badly, and it's kind of not getting there, and she gets a slam. It would be the best thing for her, she hasn't got one yet, so yeah, I think with her, I think it's just hopefully coming at the right time. Can she do good in the next one? I don't know, but yeah, I think she's getting closer and closer. That's all I have to say. After coming back
Mm,
and obviously losing to these top level girls, it's still it's still it's still good that she can have that fight and have that level that she can still compete with the women at the top level. But yeah, in Islam it's very different because you can crumble under the pressure and you can step up to it and you can just say I don't feel pressure or I love pressure and that's what champions do. That's what the Grand Slam level players do because it's always going to be close. You rarely ever have a Grand Slam match, especially a final where it's just a double bagel or an easy 2-2 or something like that. It's always a huge battle. So yeah, to win that, and I don't really know if we've seen that from her yet. But yeah, I think it's hopefully gonna come, and I want it to come because she definitely needs a I want it to have a slam. We all want it to get a slam.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, such a good player, and yeah, I say great to if she can get to win a slam. That'd be just brilliant, after having a baby, obviously. Also, she beat Elena Rybakina, the number one seed, for her first top 10 win since the 2023 Montreal Open, where she beat the number eight Kvitova. We should also mention Ashlyn Krueger as well, making the final, biggest final of her career. Good week for her, beating Daria Kasatkina, Leila Fernandez, Linda Noskova, amongst others. I mean, she's 20 years old, Carl. She's probably broken onto the scene. This is probably the first time she's kind of broken onto our radar, and definitely a player that I'm going to be watching out for in the future, and a player that probably, hopefully, will make it in the big time in tennis.
Yeah, a lot of these kind of American players coming through as well, doing really good for
Well,
for
yeah,
the
she's
for the sport. So
something I
recent.
mentioned with Phil. She's one of 17 US women's players in the top 100. I mean, it's such a strong field, and that's probably why we don't give her enough credit because there's so many women that are from the United States that just
Yeah,
blend in. I mean, because there's so many of them. There's such a strong nation for tennis, especially in the WTA tour.
yeah. Yeah, for women, that's what I was literally trying to say. It is they're doing so well at tennis right now, and even you've got even the men's. Look how well Fritz is doing. Look how well Tommy's Paul's doing. They're just stepping up their games, and it's definitely paying off. So yeah, America's just the place to be, the place to grow up in, and the level of the training is obviously extremely high. So yeah, looking at that, it just makes you wanna either go there for college or just it has so many options, so many opportunities. So yeah, I think definitely the American players, it's giving them a huge reputation, a very good reputation at that. Because yeah, they might not have Sinner or someone like that on their pedestal, but they've definitely got a very good crop of players, and there's just such a huge amount of them in that high level on average. The
Mm.
it's just so good to see especially all the women coming through there because it's so tough for women to get to that high level and for so many Americans to do it it's a big accomplishment. So yeah, for people like Krueger and Villanets, all these players who played in this tournament and had to go through these tough matches, there's definitely a lot of props to them. You got like Kenin as well, Sophia Kenin, even though she lost second day, there's still so many to go through and so many to just to play for because anyone can get it. Anyone can get through to us to ATP 500. You had Kruger who we didn't really notice before, like you said, and she got through. It could have been any of the Americans, could have been any of the girls. So yeah, the level is extremely high from so many of these players, and it's not really with women's tennis. I don't really feel like there's one player who's really extremely standing out at the moment. We literally just had Sabalenka being beat and to Maddison Keys, so it's not really someone is literally dominating out of the game. Anyone can get it. Like I feel like it's just someone can just randomly win a slam right now in the women's tennis. It's not like how with men's you've got Sinner who is like
Mm.
he's got like a 90% chance of him winning, and everyone else is like fighting to get to a final, you know. But yeah, I think with the women, it's so open right now. It's great to see the opportunities, and it just brings so much um attention to the sport for women, which is so good. And yeah, it's so interesting to see how what they can produce and who will get there and who will win these tournaments because you would really never know.
Yeah, I mean, like Italy as well. Another strong nation. We'll talk about Lucia Bonzetti in a moment because obviously she made the final in the Transylvania, losing to Anastasia Potapova 4-6, 6-1, 6-2 in the final. But it's like with Sinner, he was kind of the catalyst for such a good crop of Italian tennis now. Talk about Matteo Bellucci from Italy. Probably why we hadn't really noticed him before, because he's again amongst so many other Italian top players like Sinner, Fognini, Musetti,
Sonego, Analdi,
Sonego. Yeah, I mean, so many top players. Caboli. I mean, and on the
Musetti, yeah.
women's tour as well, obviously Jasmine Paolini making 2 finals as well. Lucia Bonzetti as well, now having a good year this year as well. We should probably talk about Transylvania quickly. One by, as I say, Potapova beating Bonzetti in the final. An odd week for Potapova, Carl, because I was digging this stat out here. She remarkably didn't have to play a seeded player en route to the title. She didn't play a single seed. She was the top seed. But again, I mean, you have to beat the player that's in front of you, and she did that
Yeah.
impressively for a 3rd career title.
Well, yeah, if that's what it's got to go through, that's what you got to do. I guess you can get lucky in tennis. The draws can go in your favor. Sometimes the second seed can go out. The second seed in the tournament, Danilovic, obviously couldn't get through, and she lost in the round of 16 to Tomaba, which is a great win for her, and so yeah, like I was saying, Potapova just keep moving forward, keep getting to the next rounds, and yeah, she had quite, I wouldn't kind of say smooth sailing, but in all honesty, it was quite smooth sailing. She played a third 3 sets in her final, yes, but it was in her semis. She won straight sets against Sasnovich, 6-3, 7-5 again, and against Seidel in the quarters she won again straight sets, second 2 sets, 2 and 3. So yeah, quarters, semis, winning straights, and then what happened in the round of 16 again. Um, Round of 16, how did she do? She won straight sets, round 32, straight first round 4-0. So yeah, I think the level of her going to these places, and even in the yeah, like I say, even in round 16, again straight sets, 6-4, 7-5. So yeah, I think even though it was quite smooth sailing, you still got to give props, because that's hard to do. It is very hard to do, because
Yeah.
it's definitely unexpected, because you're going in as a number one. Yes, you won the tournament. Yes, congrats. But it still definitely asserts dominance as the number one seed, to show that you can have that line that doesn't really falter and go up and down, and you might lose third round, and anything can happen in tournament. But it shows what kind of player you are, to know that I can go from round one to finals playing the exact same, or keep stepping up my level against better players and just winning. So yeah, great, great, great for her to get to the final and do
Yeah,
so
it's
well.
interesting. It's an interesting thing you say, beating the players in front of you, like I said earlier. We've seen so many players getting affected by the draw opening up, because now they think they've got a huge opportunity and they've wasted this to lose a title. It's a 3rd title. It's a big moment for her. And yeah, credit to her for, as you say, dropping just 1 set, I think, on route to the
Yeah, it's
title. And
hard to do that.
yeah, when you see a draw opening up, like Belinda Bencic is the best example at the US Open. She played Emma Raducanu, the qualifier, and I think you have to say that the draw affected her, because it completely opened up, and it's probably the best draw she's ever going to get, best shot she's ever going to get at winning a Grand Slam. And yeah, great for her to win that. We should also probably mention quickly about Lucia Bonzetti. A good week for her. We should probably move on to other news, Carl. We're quite deep in the podcast, 45 minutes or so. Petra Kvitova is to return to the tour after birth of her son. She'll make her return at the end of February, before the Sunshine Double at the WTA 250 in Austin. Yeah, good. A good story for her to come back. Obviously, the grass court specialist, lefty, and yeah, again another story of having birth to his son, maternity leave, and coming back like Belinda Bencic. Maybe she can have a run like her, maybe not. But yeah, again, just good for the tour that Petra Kvitova's back on it.
Yeah, you love to see these women just striving to come back, which is what I was just talking about. There's so many players now that if it's their time, they want to start a family. Tennis is not just their one focus. Maybe when they were 20 to 30 or younger and really grinding it out, that was a time. But if you haven't still completed what you want to complete in the sport, or you just love to play it, there's so many reasons why you want to keep playing tennis. And yes, it can be lonely. It's a single sport, but when you've got a family, you want to help them out and just do what you love. It just makes it so much more fulfilling. So yeah, we can understand what they're going through, and you obviously want to see players to come back, because you all love how, like, let's just give an example, how Serena, we all wanted her to come back after she had birth, and she did, which just made it her tennis and everything so much better when she won slams and when she was winning tournaments. So yeah, if Kvitova can do the same thing, like Bencic, and win tournaments, it's just going to be such a highlight for everyone to talk about, because it is a very big achievement, and you got to take credit, and we will definitely talk about it, because it's something very important to look at and to be proud of.
Yeah, hopefully she can do well. As you say, we'll be covering it on the Chip and Charge Tennis podcast. But segue alert here. As I say, she's going to be playing in the WTA 250 in Austin at the end of February. And on the matter of Austin, something we haven't covered on the podcast yet, we probably should have done last week, but we can cover it now anyway because Austin's later in February. Maddison Keys, now up to world number 6, after winning the Australian Open, is not allowed to play in Austin. Jessica Pegula, who's the world number 5, is playing instead because of a WTA top 10 WTA 250 rule that they've put in, the latest edition of tennis shooting itself in its foot. Basically, the rule is that on the WTA Tour 250s, at 250 level, you can only have one top 10 player playing in that event. I don't know what the upside of that is. I mean, I've only heard people having negative comments about it. Maddison Keys, who's obviously won her Australian Open, wants to come here, to a bit of a smaller tournament in Austin, before obviously she goes to the Sunshine Double. Probably just to get some match reps under the belt, probably just, go to a smaller environment, get back used to that. And she's not being able to because of this stupid WTA rule about not allowing top 10 players to play in two, not allowing more than one to play in an event. I mean, I can't make any sense of it. Can you make any upsides for the reason why they're doing this? I mean, it's just
Yeah,
crazy.
that is quite odd. So what you're basically essentially saying is that it's such a huge advantage for just one top 10 player. So the one top 10 player who enters it has such a big advantage because they have no other competition, basically. So if the number one in the world enters the tournament, it's kind of a win, because you're playing people outside the top 10, and yeah, someone like Madison Keys can come through, but yeah, it's different, and it's not something that you'd expect from the WTA to do. I don't really understand why you would do it, like you said, but yeah, for some reason that what the decision they've made. If any of you guys, watching this, has any comments about why you think they would not allow any other top tens to enter at ATP, a WTA 250, sorry, and then yeah, just tell us in the comments, or tell us in one of our videos, because yeah, it's quite baffling to me and Nick to try and figure out why they would do something like that. But
I
yeah.
mean, I think the only thing I can think of is maybe because they're trying to, well, firstly because they want to give lower ranked players opportunities to get deep and get prize money, and secondly because so many of the top players have been complaining about it being such a tight schedule for them that they're trying to limit the amount of top players that are in there to try and get them off their back for talking to them like that. But WTA 250s are struggling, to get players. They're struggling to get a good field, and this is such a big moment for Austin. They've got the one number 6 and the one number 5 playing in their event, and they were both two Americans in America. And now that's just been cancelled. They've done so much promotion for having Maddison Keys there. Obviously, they've been following her Australian Open run and hyping up so much on
Such a
their
big tournament for
social
America,
media. Yeah, such a big tournament, but also a small tournament, and the WTA is constantly complaining about. I mean, we know that the WTA finance for these small tournaments, they're getting hardly any money for it, and this is going to be the perfect opportunity for Austin to get a good tournament. and they're not being allowed to. I mean, it's really crazy. As I say, I can't make
Mm.
any sense of it. Perhaps it'll be changed. It could be changed. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. We should probably move on to next week, Carl. The WTA 1000 event will be headlining the week's play. Now, obviously, this week we're recording on Wednesday in Qatar. The top seed Sabalenka and Swiatek, and of course the rest of the top 10 is also playing there. Apart from Maddison Keys, a very good, a very strong lineup. You probably have to feel that Swiatek's most likely the favourite to win this. You know, she's won it 3 times before in a row. She's looking for her 4th consecutive Doha title. And she loves the conditions in Doha, you know, the slow, windy hard courts. She just loves the conditions. And, you know, obviously now Coco Gauff's lost and Sabalenka's also lost to Katerina Alexandrova. I mean, Swiatek coming through a tight 3-setter against Linda Noskova. Suddenly the doors opened up and I can't really look past Swiatek.
Yes, Swiatek is definitely looking like the number 1 player. She did have a tough match against Noskova today. Um, um, winning in 3, 7-6, 6-4, 6-4. But yeah, I think there's definitely, you know, a lot of other players that can definitely put in a shift in this tournament. You've still got Ons Jabeur that we were talking about, who did win today. That's the round of 16, so she'll be in the quarterfinals.
Jasmine
So
Paolini's there as well.
yeah, Pegula as well, winning. Alexandrova, you got Rybakina. Yeah, that's what
Rybakina.
I'm saying. Yeah, yes,
Also,
Ostapenko.
yeah,
But
beat
yeah,
Paolini today.
the 4th seed, 2-2. So there's some strong players.
Anisimova's also playing really well at the moment. She beat Badosa and now Leila Fernandez. A bit of a
Mm.
shock for Sabalenka to lose to Alexandrova, obviously, after making the Australian Open final. I mean, she hasn't really performed too well here in the past. You know, obviously last year she didn't. I think she played. Maybe she played, but she lost early. I mean, maybe this just isn't the right time. Maybe this isn't the right conditions. Maybe she needs to get used to, you know, playing on, you know, on the tour before she gets right back into it after obviously the Australian Open. Hopefully she can get back in time for the Indian Wells and Miami. As for Coco Gauff, a bit of an unexpected loss to Marta Kostyuk. I think we kind of expected all of our unforced error problems to go, but
Mm.
they very much arose again against Marta Kostyuk. And yeah, suddenly the doors opened up for so many players. I mean, yeah, Rebecca's probably up there with Swiatek for the favourites as well. I think, like you say, runs can be happening for Daria Kasatkina potentially, although she lost to Jessica Pegula today. So,
Mm.
yeah, a very good tournament, a very strong field, and shock losses for Sabalenka and Gauff.
Yeah, I would say if we had to do our predictions just for like winners and finals, I would maybe say that definitely Swiatek will be up there. I definitely think that she can make finals, probably even win it now that Sabalenka's out. But you never know. I think Pegula as well has a really good chance. Um, she looks like she's been going on such a good run and doing really well. But yeah, also Rybakina from her matches before, and Kostic. So those are my top 4, I think. But yeah, yeah, anything can happen. Women's tennis is a 181,000, so everyone's going to be fighting. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see how it progresses, especially from here now getting into the quarters tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Swiatek for a prediction for my winner. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to win, or if you're listening to this on audio, let us know, chipnchargetennispodcast at gmail.com, or head over to our social medias, links to do so in the comments, where you can then just follow us obviously on all of our social media platforms and let us know who you think is going to win the WTA 1000 in Qatar. Before we move on to the 3 ATP 250 events next week or this week, we should probably talk about Emma Raducanu because she has lost 4 matches now in a row, losing to Swiatek very comfortably in Australia, then losing in Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and now against Alexandrova, who of course has now beaten Sabalenka, but she didn't look great against Alexandrova. She looked kind of underpowered. I mean, it's good. Firstly, it's a good thing that she's playing back-to-back tournaments, which she hasn't done for so long in her career. And good that she's obviously played back-to-back, but she hasn't, you know, had very many matches. She had 4 matches in a row, you know, over about 3 weeks. So I think, you know, she of course took wildcards to get into the main draw. Maybe she should have warmed up and got used to it in the qualifying. You know, get a few warm-up matches in the qualifying. The draws in qualifying are still very strong, but perhaps she should have taken declined the wild cards and taken a qualifying, because maybe she just needs to get a match reps. She's lost to Kristina Buxa, Marketa Vondrousova, and now Alexandrova. 3 not great losses, 3 good players, but if she gets in the qualifying, she can get two good wins, get her confidence up, and then get into the main draw firing and ready to go. I don't know what's your take on taking so many wild cards if you're losing first rounds so often.
Yeah, I think wildcards can be good. I think it's if you're trying to go for points, I think just if you're especially just early up there and just going for the wildcard, then yeah, it can be good, yes. But if you want to get deep in tournaments and if you're not feeling like you might not be on it as much, he's lost 2 matches and he's definitely not being on it as much. And yeah, one thing I did notice because over the weekend I watched this match with my family, Raducanu and Alexandrova, and it just feels like when I'm watching her, she doesn't have that, that big shot, that step in, that one big hitter that we saw when she won a slam and when she was doing really good. And yeah, she's got enough to kind of slack off, even though she might not want to, but it kind of looks like she's feeling that's what she's feeling like. We hear all the commentators saying how many coaches she's been running through, and it just doesn't know if she's got any consistency. She definitely hasn't got any consistency with how many tournaments and how many wins she can get, but maybe she can get a little bit more consistency, by just stepping up and just going for it more. She's got nothing to lose anymore. It's not like she's a Grand Slam winner anymore. She hasn't got anything to prove. She's kind of still back where she kind of started. So I think that for her, I think she definitely needs to find that backhand again. One, because when I was watching her backhand used to be whenever she won last year, 2 years ago, and she won US, her backhand was absolutely firing. Those backhand lines were something else. Well, how she won the tournament and just her overall just aggressiveness and all that. It's just kind of seems like she's just rallying. She's just rallying, 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 rallying. The occasional, yeah, she kind of places it quite well. I see, especially on I saw one point where she had a good serve. Alexandra hit a really good return back deep, and she just quickly early preparation down and just got it in the corner and for a winner and stuff like that, which is quite good handsy kind of skills. But I think just being on top of the ball and aggressive, I think she really needs to work on. Honestly, not for me to say, but just like overall, that's like compared to these other girls and women who are like more onto it now. Like you see Swiatek, who's not even the biggest, but she just acts and she plays like a man, just going for it. And this is what the women's tennis is what you want to see. And for Raducanu, I think that's the next step of how I think she can get to that next level.
Yeah, I think, like you say, she needs to find a stable coaching setup. As you say, she's been going through so many coaches. She had a nice coach though, just now, and then obviously he had to leave for his personal reasons. I mean, I think he was probably quite good. She got to her furthest point at the Australian Open earlier this year, and probably the first time that the coach has been taken out of her hands, not because of her. So yeah, I think she needs to find a stable coaching setup. I was thinking about Andy Murray to coach her, but Murray is still to coach Djokovic until at least Wimbledon. They've said she's still gonna coach him at least Wimbledon. We weren't sure after that Australian Open, but yeah, they've confirmed that until at least Wimbledon. Of course, Djokovic has got a hamstring tear. He said that he's gonna be back soon. Perhaps Doha. We'll have to see in a few weeks' time. But yeah, I was thinking maybe Andy Murray. Maybe that. Obviously, we had the mixed doubles at Wimbledon, which Murray cancelled, which Raducanu cancelled on with Murray for Murray's final ever match. But maybe that's too raw. But I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for Raducanu to find a good coach, a stable coach that she can just work with
For a
the
long time,
for the
yeah.
next 5 years or something. Just have stability and work on something. Have goals and everything. Yeah, we should probably move on before this gets too long. To the ATP 250 in Buenos Aires, which I'm currently watching now. Schwartzman's playing Jarry 3-2 up in that third set. Just surviving his career a few games longer. The top seeds there, Alexander Zverev. Interesting that he's doing the clay swing before the Sunshine Double with Indian Wells and Miami on hard course. kind of replaced Alcaraz, who did this last year. Also, we've got Rune there, Musetti, Tabilo, Fonseca, as well as I say, beating Martin Echeverri. Also in action, so yeah, a strong lineup in Buenos Aires, and it should be a good week as Schwartzman's got break points in this third set.
Yeah, I definitely think Buenos Aires is a top tournament. Definitely one to be up for it and get into it for, because there's so much that can happen in this next few weeks. Like you literally said, you got Fonseca in there, still doing quite well, and Zverev being the number one seed, he's doing. I feel like he can be really really tough to beat now, and if he goes off of what happened and how he did in Australia, and trying to keep stepping it up, I definitely think there's a lot for him there. I think the other players like Runa being at two, hopefully he can find his form again and play a little bit better. We saw a little bit now and there. I think that he's kind of hopefully getting back to it. I definitely want to see him back to his top level, because he is a very top player. So yeah, Musetti could be trouble as well, third seed. But yeah, I think it's a very good tournament, very good level tournaments, and yeah, I want to see who can surprise us, who can show us that they're still there. And yeah, I'm expecting good things from Zverev in this tournament, because yeah, it's a 250, so it's not like it's the toughest thing for him to win or anything. He shouldn't have too much of problems. There's not really anyone that's like extremely high in that tournament. But yeah, Zverev being number one, it's going to be good tournament.
Yeah. Schwartzman has broken. The crowd has gone absolutely wild in Argentina. I don't know why I'm commentating on this match. By the time that it's come out, it'll be finished already, so you'll know the result.
But yeah, live is better. Yeah.
I mean, such a insane match. It really is. Schwartzman's smiling and everything. The crowd's going wild. But yeah, as I say, I think it'll be interesting to see how far Fonseca can go. Of course, leading up to Rio in next week. Next week, of course, where it'll be his home event. The atmosphere there is going to be crazy when Fonseca arrives there.
For him, oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll be ridiculous. That should probably get elevated to 1,000. I think that is just such a good tournament. So yeah, I think, like I say, Zverev's probably going to be hoping to win this, but yeah, Rune, Musetti, Tabilo, Fonseca, I think also in there for a shout to win it. The ATP 250 as well in Delray Beach is going on this week. The top seeds Fritz actually pulled out. You've got Mickelson there, Arnadi, Marcus Giron, and Brandon Nakashima. Again, a good tournament there, good lineup with Taylor Fritz, Mickelson, Giron, lots of Americans, Nakashima as well. Yeah, I'm probably going to say Fritz is definitely the heavy favourite, although he hasn't had a great start to the year. He thrashed Brooksby and Garin at the Australian Open, then lost to Monfils, which is probably a bit of a surprise, and then surprisingly lost to Shapovalov, who I know went on to win the title. But hopefully he can redeem himself in this ATP 250 in Delray Beach, get some good wins under his belt, get this 250 season rolling.
Yeah, we've got obviously, as Brits, you've got high hopes for Cameron Norrie being still in there. I think that he's kind of on the board, kind of off the board. I don't know where we kind of stand with Norrie here, but
he beat Zach Schreider, didn't he, in the first round?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did win that one. But yeah, I think, no, I'm just looking at this tournament, and there is so many Americans, man.
It's ridiculous.
From qualities, you got from the top of the tournament, you got obviously Fritz at number one. You got McDonald wildcard, Tien wildcard, and these are all guys who.
Tien's going to be interesting to see how far he can go,
especially against. He's got Arnaldi fourth seed, so that could be a tough one.
That'd be a good match.
It'll definitely be a good one. And these are all guys who aren't in the first round. They've made it to the second round. They've either won matches or got buys, and these wildcards have had to win matches. And so these American guys, just how we're saying with the women's, there's so many. You got Pelka against Nakashima. Two Americans facing off in the second round.
Pelka beat Chris Eubanks the round before.
Yeah,
it's heavy with Americans.
It's so many. You still got more. You got another two facing off. You got Mo as a quali against Mickelson. Again, another two straight after that at the bottom. You got Giron and Quinn. So yeah, man, there is loads of Americans. It's just too many.
I mean, the
But yeah, they're
population of
taking
America,
over.
the population of America is very high, which is probably why. But they've got such a good
Yeah,
setup for tennis, I think, especially.
so many good
Uh,
facilities and
and
all
they
that and
haven't,
everything.
they've kind of underperformed at the Davis Cup, so that'd be interesting. I know Italy, of course, got a very good team, being hosted in Bologna this year, so we'll have to see. We'll be rounding off that as well here on the Chip and Charge Tennis podcast. Moving on, the final event this week in Marseille, the ATP 250. Top seeds Medvedev, as I say, trying to get some matches, trying to get some confidence under his belt. Hugo and Bear as well, also there. French hope. Kana Shanov, Hubert Hurkacz as well, of course, who played a very good match against Alcaraz at Rotterdam, amongst others. A good tournament, Carl. Again, another good lineup. Four good tournaments. I think we're all going to be covering very, very, very closely because lots of big players, pretty much all of the top players apart from Alcaraz, Sinner, Djokovic isn't there either. But yeah, it'd be
No,
interesting to
but yeah,
see.
still good level. Yeah, very good
Yeah, it'd be
level.
interesting to see who can win Marseille. I think I'm probably gonna back Hugo and Bear to win. I think Medvedev, too many question marks over him. But yeah, who do you think's gonna win,
Mm.
Carl?
Yeah, I'm probably thinking Berg, maybe Saniga, I don't know, and probably
He beat
not,
Van der
but
Zandschulp, didn't he? I mean, that
yeah,
was a good
yeah,
win.
he in the first round, and now he has got Umber second, this
That'd be a good match.
quarterfinal, yeah, but
After obviously
you
making the
know
quarters at the Australian
exactly.
Open.
But
Um,
another one to really look out is Hurkacz, as you've seen his level. So if he can produce that in this tournament, oh my days, I
and
really think that
Hurkacz,
he
of
could
course, now
stun.
with Hurkacz with Nicolas Massou and Ivan Lendl performing well. Yeah, I think Hurkacz is a good
Mm,
shout to win it.
I definitely think he could win. Yeah,
Khachanov as well's there. He's just a
he
solid
just
performer.
Kachanov.
Yeah, did he lose?
He lost. He lost
Oh, okay.
to
Who,
Medjedovic.
oh, Medjedovic. I mean,
Medjedovic in straights 2 and 3. So he could then
Medjedovic.
be in another
Maybe
one.
he could. Yeah, because he beat
He could
Rune in the
snatch a
Davis Cup.
final
He beat Rune in
or
the Davis
semis or
Cup
something.
qualifiers. Yeah, of course, making the final of Belgrade as well in 2024. I mean, yeah, just three good ATP tournaments, and of course the WTA 1000 in Doha, which we'll be covering next week. Make sure that you're with us, where we'll be rounding off those events. Carl may be in Dublin, we may not be having him, but anyway, please do come whoever it is that's going to be rounding off the events next week, and any other news that happens. As I say, please do check out all of the links in the show notes. Sign up to our newsletter. It's free to sign up for. And also, if you want to support us with donations, then please go to our support, to our Buy Me a Coffee page right at the very top of the description. We genuinely be so appreciative of anything that you can donate to us. It really will help support this podcast. Also, please make sure that if you've got any questions, queries, concerns, send them all over to chipnchargetennispodcast at gmail.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that
Give
subscribe
us
and like button.
yeah.
Just give us as many reviews as possible, ratings.
Comments, anything, yeah,
Yeah,
anything, comments, we'll
scroll
answer all
through
your
all our videos.
questions.
Yeah, they're very useful if you can also give us questions, because we are aiming to do a listener question special coming up in the near future. But most importantly, please make sure that you come next week. We'll see you then.